Welcome back to Dr. Karen's Math Hacks. Today we're going to talk about fractions. What I've found is that the difference between people who are good at fractions and those who aren't are how they think about them. So today I'm going to talk about how to think about them so that when we get to adding and subtracting or multiplying, dividing, it's pretty obvious what we're doing physically. So here's what fractions are physically. Let's look at what fractions are. This is a pizza. We're going to cut it into pieces. We've got 8 pieces. 8 pieces it takes to make a whole. Of those 8 pieces, we have all 8 of them. Okay? So this is the number it takes to make a whole. And this is the number that we have. Okay? So if somebody comes along and eats a piece, we have 7. This is 7/8 of a pizza. Because the 7 is less than 8, we know that it is not a whole pizza. Okay, let's say somebody else comes along and eats another piece. Now we have 6. Okay? But if you've worked with fractions before, you know that 6/8 is the same as 3/4. So what's going on here? When we divide each by 2, so we have 3/4. What we're doing is combining 2 pieces. We have 3, and it takes 4 to make a whole. All right, so when we change this number, we are changing how big the piece is. And by changing how big the piece is, we change how many we have. So that's what's going on when you simplify a fraction. This is a lot easier to see if you automatically have a vision of what fractions are. All right? When I see 1/2, I see this, half a circle. When I see 1/4, I see this, 1/4 of a circle. Okay? When I see 1/8, I see this, just that little wedge. When I see 1/3, I see a peace sign, and I erase part of it. I see that. When I see 1/6, I cut it in half. Okay? So since I know that I'm dealing with pieces, if I see 3/4, I see this. So now it's easy to see that if you're adding 1/4 to that, you're just filling that in and you're done. You don't have to do anything more. You just rearrange the pieces in your head. If I'm adding 1/8 to it, I just put half of one in there. So now we've got 7/8. Some students have asked me why I use circles when they used rectangles in school. All right, let me show you why. This is 3/4 of the circle. This is 3/4 with a rectangle. You can't tell whether that's a whole or not. Where this one you can see that it is not a whole. Okay? The only time you can use rectangles is if you fill in that dotted section. Okay? If you practice drawing these, you can start to develop them in your head. So let's look at how to draw them, okay? You draw a circle to start with. All right, for 1/2, you just divide it into 2, just straight down. 1/4, you cut it this way. 1/8, you cut it in half again. Okay, these are all factors of 2. 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16 is when you cut all of these in half again. 1/32 is if you do it again. You can see this on a ruler if you look at the inches. Okay? So that's how you get these multiples of 2. What about other ones? Okay? Multiples of 3, you use a peace sign. 1/3. All right? 1/6 is cutting it in half again. Okay? 1/12 is cutting these in half again. 1/9 is cutting these in thirds. All right, when you cut something in thirds, you want to draw the first line so that this section is half the size of this section. So the bigger part is twice the size of that one. And then you cut that in half. Doing fifths is a little bit more difficult. You still have to do this triangle thing like the third does, but narrower, and then cut these in half. If you have trouble with fractions, you might want to work on just having some random fractions written down. 2/3 and 3/5, that type of thing. And then just draw them. Okay? If you work on just drawing them, you'll start to get an idea as to what they all look like, which helps when you're adding and subtracting or multiplying and dividing. I'll be talking about those functions in a later video. If you found this video useful, consider subscribing or hitting the like button. I'll be posting another math hack next week. One thing that helps a lot when doing fractions is having a picture in your head. You have to have an idea as to how big things are and what shapes they are in order to work with them. I think about fractions using circles. All right. When I see 1/2, this is what I see. This is what comes to mind. When I see 1/4, I see that. When I see 1/8, oops, I see this. I see this.